Hello everyone, SirMonkeySuit or Zappy here, back again with Kuroko in a Basket. Season 1, we are on episode 14, and in the last episode, we beat Shotoku just to the punch, as you would expect. The threat of a buzzer beater, and that's something I didn't even talk about actually last episode, was the fact that the game didn't even end on a buzzer beater, which was an interesting sort of subverting of expectations. Like the idea that, Midorima is going up for the last shot of the game to get the 3 points and win them the game. He completely throws off Kagami and does a dummy and fakes him out, only for Kuroko from behind to knock it out, because that's what he expected to happen, which is great. And it's a great way to subvert expectations by winning the game, stopping someone getting a buzzer beater as opposed to getting one. So that was just really cool. So yeah, that's it. We won the final of the prelims. So that means we're in the Championship League, where apparently the new Generation of Miracles guy that we got introduced to, Aomine, he is apparently in the Championship League. So that means we need to face off against his team. However, with it being a league and not a tournament-based thing, they can afford a loss. So that means I do believe that Aomine's team will beat Serene. But Serene can win the other two matches there, and that'll basically put them through to the Inter-High. And then I think we will get our Kaijo will get their revenge match against Serene, in which case they will actually get revenge and then beat Serene, and then I think that's where the season will end. I think naturally that makes sense, and I try not to. I mean, that's the problem, isn't it? Is that when I think about stuff in a meta sense, I'm thinking of it based upon not just story beats. Well, yeah, I mean pretty much story beats from other shows, because it makes sense in the fact of you need to end off the season in some way, and you wouldn't leave it midway through anything, which means that there's an absolute, like something there that is crucial at the end, so that when you pick up in season 2, it starts again, and it just makes sense, But yeah, I mean, we'll just see what happens. But yeah, so we beat Shotoku, which is fantastic, and yeah. Nothing else to really talk about. We're just going to get in episode 14. So yep, if you do want to see the actual reaction, then the link will be in the description below. There'll also be a link to the full length there. If you do want to gain access to that and not just the 10-minute version, then the offer is there for you. But yep, nothing else to really talk about. So we're going to get in episode 14 and see what we get. So without further ado, let's go. Okay, episode 14, and we had obviously a sort of a rest episode before we get back into it. I don't know if that's going to happen next episode, though. I don't know if next episode is actually going to be the start of the Championship League, or if we have similar to kind of what Haikyuu does, where they have a rest episode, and then the episode after that is actually sort of it's like a preview or something to the match coming up. It's like just before the game. So it could do that. It may not. Regardless, doesn't matter, because that's in the next episode, and we'll talk about that next episode. But anyway, yeah, so episode 14, we had a rest, and we got a bit more information around Aomine, particularly, which is definitely interesting. For a number of reasons, but mainly because the fact of he's so like Kagami, it's like... I think it's almost set up that this is Kagami's main rival. Like, it has to be, right? Because he takes the position of what Aomine was doing back in Teiko, where it's a case of... I mean, in a way, it's almost like... I don't know if this will be a drama type situation with Kagami. Like, I don't know if Kagami would be... I don't know if Kagami's the type of person to, be annoyed at the fact of Kuroko only picking him out because he's an Aomine, because he was like Aomine, But I think that must have been the reason why Kuroko was so attached to him immediately, from episode 1. We saw him following Kagami, in episode 1, and just knowing that there was that similar aura about him. So yeah, I mean, but the fact of it's the connection of having Kuroko between them, but also the fact that they play the same position, and they play the same way, I should say, which I assume that means that Kagami's position is a power forward as well, then, because that's what Momoi pointed out, which I'm happy with. I want more of that. Can we get more like into the rules and positions and rules and things like that and put them in the, because I want to alongside, because see, that's one of the things that I've noticed so far, and I don't know if that's something they're going to implement in future episodes, but like in Haikyuu, across the whole show, across the whole show, it was consistently giving you like the rules and different players and the names of those players and the positions, and you know what I mean. But so far, Kuroko hasn't really done that, which is a shame, because that's the kind of shit that I want to get to know. You know, I want to know the rules going into it. But so yeah, I mean, I'm really happy with Momoi at the moment because of the way that she came out and was just, you know, giving sort of that, you know, that sort of exposition in rules and positions and stuff. And so power forward. Now, I know from ice hockey, because I love ice hockey, that, you know, that also has a power forward role, and generally that's the person who, or the player that's generally going to get you the most points. So I suppose it does make sense, and it sort of normally that would be down this, you know, down like the straight center, as well. And I'm wondering like how this match is going to go between Aomine, because this is like, with it being, like I said just before about how this could be Kagami's straight up rival, right? Because obviously in terms of, like I said, the Kuroko thing and the fact that they both play the same way, I'm assuming that Kagami is a power forward, so if they both play the same position, they're going to be marking each other. It's going to be them two, and I just feel like if any match was set up for an individual battle, this would be the one, you know. And as we saw at the end there, Aomine was clearly running rings around him. But as I said, like, that's just, Kagami isn't at 100%. But even then, I mean, like I've predicted, I feel like Aomine's team is the one that's going to beat them first. So that's, you know, and it's going to be interesting to see them play. But I mean, this is the thing: is like, it could be a case of having an individual do all the work. And I mean that from, you know, whoever Aomine's team is, because I don't think they've pointed out the school yet, have they? They haven't said the name yet. No. But if that's the case, then, you know, I don't know what to make of the other team members of that school. The guy with the glasses, who seems to be the captain, which I imagine he is, seems very happy-go-lucky. Like, he's not really all that fussed. So does he have this kind of personality about him that's just like, oh, it's fine, because Aomine is just that good? Even when he pointed out that Momoi was not around either, he said that was alright and that's her job. So it makes me wonder, like, her job as a manager is obviously going out and scoping out the competition, scoping out what they do the research, everything like that, which she did do. Which means she does take it, like, very seriously, you know? Which is interesting, because that's, like, something that Serene doesn't have. They don't have a manager. They have a coach. They don't have a manager, though. And it's interesting, especially, you know, bringing it back to Haikyuu again. There was an episode not too long ago, in fact it was in season 4, where fucking Karasuno, sorry, it's when you know, getting in more sports anime and stuff, having to fucking remember. Karasuno's manager had an episode where she did a lot of work and we actually saw her doing the work and everything like that, and I talked about how it's interesting that the difference in manager, in regards to where, like, you know, especially like in the sports that I'm watching, in volleyball and basketball, that the manager is somebody who doesn't manage the team, and instead that's the coach's job. Whereas, like, you know, my home sport of football isn't like that, and it's the manager that sets up the team and does, you know, sets up the formations, everything like that. But in here, it's like, you know, in terms of it being, and again, I don't know if it's a sport thing or it's a Japanese or Eastern type style of doing things, where it's like the manager is somebody who sort of, you know, does like general work around the like, you know, they could like set up training drills, something like that, or go out and scope the competition. So it's interesting that they put those in there in both of those animes, and that's kind of like my question, is whether it's specifically a thing that's in volleyball and basketball as the sport, or is it something that it's just Japanese or Eastern Asian, you know, that kind of thing. So yeah, we also had the food time, I suppose, where they all went to a restaurant, and you had all of the you know, you had Kisei there, and Midorima turned up as well. Midorima pointing out a difference and a change in attitude in Kisei, which is interesting, and I think I mean, the interesting thing that pointed out was you just it wasn't that in particular. I mean, it was while he said it, because I was thinking, well, it's a case because he actually lost one, and it kind of brought him back down to earth. But it's what he said afterwards, and he said you just reverted back to, you know, before you won those 3, you know, consecutive championships. And that's the point, is that, and even Kagami said, what are you talking about? Of course we do this for fun. Like, you wouldn't have gotten into it, and you wouldn't have gotten as good as you did if you didn't love it. It's just that that's the kind of thing, I think, of sports in general, or being too good at something. The reason why they don't think it's fun anymore is because they don't have a challenge. That's why. They have been so accustomed to winning that it becomes like that's the, it's like the enjoyment they get out of it now is, yeah, of course I won, because they don't think it's like it doesn't even cross their mind that they could possibly lose, because they just keep winning all the time, you know, and it's not even a challenge. The fun comes when there's a challenge there. If you're just winning every fucking game, it just becomes it's just a thing that I do, you know. And you need to bring them back down to earth, you know, and give them a reason to go back and you know, get their revenge. When Midorima says that, you know, screw this, I don't do it for fun, like almost acting like I'm not the same as you kind of thing. It's all about just getting the win. That's just words. I don't think he actually means that, or at least he may have actually did mean it in that time, because like he said, the match only just happened just before. You know what I mean? It hasn't even been a full day yet. You know what I mean? So it's still fresh in his mind. But the thing is that going into training and having that focus on your mind of like, we got beat, and I'm not going to let it happen again. That next time it comes around, they have to try that much harder, the challenge. When you if you go and eventually do beat them and get your revenge back, it feels all that much better. You know what I mean? And you worked for it, and you tried it. You tried at it, you know, and it's along the way you realize that it was fun. So it's one of those things that they just have to get, you know, just to realize. Kisei's had time to ponder on it. And, you know, I've said multiple times now that the fact that it was just a practice match as well. So, but Kisei doesn't say it that way. So there's that. He lost, and he's had time to dwell on it, and he's doing all of this practice and everything like that to get better. He's having fun with it. So, you know, it's great as well. But I think it's interesting that they pointed out it was specifically on Kisei, because he was the one that came in later, right? Which means that the other generation of miracles were there longer. So they're more sort of, it's like they're more set in their ways and harder to kind of turn around. Whereas Kisei isn't as much. You know, it's interesting as well because you would think. So does that mean that Kisei is not a power? Is Kisei a power forward? I mean, because they didn't specifically like. I guess there was nobody there to really point out that you know Kisei and Kagami are kind of the same. They play the same way. I mean, Kisei's whole thing is that his ability is, you know, copying, being a copycat. But what's an Aomine is, you know? Kuroko pointed out that, you know, and Kuroko was like, Kagami's hidden ability is jumping. He never stated anything that would relate to Aomine, so I don't think Aomine's would be jumping. It's just that they play similarly. So it's like very intense, their kind of style of play. I'm just trying to think like what Aomine's would be. See, that's the problem. It's like, how can I figure out what is left? Because you've got the one that can take the long shots from anywhere. You've got the one that can copycat. You've got the one that can pass. I pointed out the defensive one, so the one that can just block anything. But then there's still. Is there two more? No, there's one more, isn't there? Yeah, because there's the big one with the purple hair, and then there's the very short one, who has like two. I noticed he has two different color eyes. So I don't know. I don't even know. Like, you know, Aomine I don't know what it could be. It could be dribbling. Because we haven't really had one that is specific to dribbling yet. We haven't seen. To be fair, that's something that we haven't truly seen yet, is it? Is like a lot of dribbling with the ball. Because I think the idea of this story is revolving around, you know, it's the main two protagonists of Kuroko and Kagami, and Kuroko's whole deal is to sort of play as a team, and he sort of like coordinates it and brings it all together with his passing and everything like that. That a lot of the times it's all about using your team against each other. But I think when you get into an individual style battle, and like I said before, with Aomine being that way, and Kagami was almost poised to do that as well in this game, where he just went and did everything himself. That's what Aomine does. I feel like this could be a match where we could see that, and it's going to be an individual battle. So that would lend me to believe that he would be a good dribbler. And the fact is, at the end of this episode anyway, he was running around Kagami. You know, I mean, we saw it once. It cut away, and we came back, and Kagami was obviously sweating, and Aomine just hadn't even broken a sweat yet. So that leads me to believe he'll be good at dribbling. And if he's just doing everything on his own, maybe just all-round play. So, yeah, we'll have to see. But yeah, I mean, we've got a doggo as well that just got abandoned and came out of nowhere. So we've got like a little mascot. And I love the fact in the ending you can see that he's got a little jersey on. That's great. And we'll call him number 2 because he looks like Kuroko. So yeah, he's number 2. That's great. I mean, I would say get him a jersey with number 2 on it, but it looks like he's actually got 16. So I don't know what that really relates to, but he really should have the number 2 jersey on because none of the other guys do they? But oh well, never mind. You know what I mean? They missed a trick there. What else? Yeah, I guess back to Momoi a bit. So she, along with the other stuff that she was bringing up about positions and rules and everything like that, she says that she, like, you know, they point out why Kuroko, because he's dull and boring and he doesn't stick out and everything like that. And Momoi had said, but isn't that great? Because when he does get serious, and when he does play, doesn't he look great when he plays striking? So what is striking? That's what I want to know. I think that's the one thing that I would love Kuroko no Basket to have, is that kind of exposition on what those things mean. Because I assume when she says play striking, I assume that that is a position or a role that he plays. You know? I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, so yeah, she was Takeover manager as well. She wanted to come and follow Kuroko, but she chose to go with Aomine because she said something that was interesting that I don't know what like he would do without me, kind of thing. It's almost as if like she's worried about him, and I guess that may have to do with his attitude, because when we saw those little flashbacks where it looks like he's smiling, you know, I wonder if he's lost that. And again, that sort of ties in with what Midorima was talking about with the change in attitude with Kisei, that, you know, you reverted back before you won consecutive championships. That basically all of the Generation of Miracles, aside from Kuroko, all kind of just at the end of their, like, you know, at the end of that middle school, just became sort of devoid of any real emotion involving, you know, like the act of having fun in basketball. It's like they all just lost that, you know. And I wonder if maybe maybe Aomine was hoping that Kuroko would come with him, and maybe that hurt him that he didn't. Because he did bring that up at the end of the episode with Kagami, you know, and that's obviously when Kagami had found out. He put two and two together. And it was almost like a jab by Aomine, you know what I mean? Like, damn, man, that was a bit of a fucking easy one, wasn't it? Like, it's just, maybe he's a bit more... I'm trying to think of the correct term. I don't want to say, like, maybe mentally childish. Like, maybe he's got a temperament of just, like, it could be jealousy, just straight up jealousy. You know, it could be that. If they've fallen out, you know, if Aomine and Kuroko has fallen out because of Aomine's different style. Maybe he doesn't want to play with anyone else but Kuroko, and that's the reason why he's become purely individual on his team. I don't know, but we'll see. But yeah, lastly we had Kasamatsu as well, the guy from Kaijo who apparently was in Basketball Monthly. So that's something interesting to talk about as well. I think, but I think it makes sense in terms of the show having, you know, you have to have people and players, characters that are on the other teams alongside the Generation of Miracles, right? You can't just highlight the Generation of Miracles and that's that, you know. You've got to have other players on the team that obviously make up the team, and, you know, have to be good as well. Because generally that's the case, is they all joined strong schools, you know. It's just that the Generation of Miracles joined them, and then that upped their like level even more. So of course, like, all the other teams are going to have really good players. And I think, if I recall, Kaijo was one of those things where they said that they're a national level team. So makes sense, doesn't it? But being in Basketball Monthly, that's really cool. Really, really cool. So yeah, that's all I've got. Really, really cool. So yeah, if you do want to go get access to episode 15 and 16 right now, you can do by becoming a Patreon and going over and getting early access, which is $5 a month. So yeah, if you do want to watch shows a week early, then you can do with that. There's also a tier there for the full length. If you do want to watch them in full and not just the 10-minute version, then that is an offer there for you as well. And then there's another tier which is called the exclusive tier, which gives you access to movie reactions and things like that, which I haven't really started yet. The only movie I've actually watched and reacted to was the My Hero 2 Heroes movie. So, but yeah, from now on, the movies will be a part of that tier. So yeah, go have a look at those, see what they offer. There's also a link in the Discord down there as well. But yeah, that's all I've got. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.